In last week's video, I showed you how I framed out the front side of this bathroom vanity. In this week's video, I'm going to do something similar to the side, but it's going to be different in the sense that the side is going to have two secret compartments, and the whole thing is going to look kind of like a facade. This is the vanity I'm replacing, and this side, which is next to the toilet, is why I have to make kind of clever designs around how to get that storage in place. She wanted a spot to hide her hairbrushes and toilet paper, so I designed the cabinet to have panels on the side, and two of them will open with hidden compartments to hold those pieces. Now, I had drawn all this up and was approved by the customer, but even the math on the computer for stuff like this doesn't always compute on site. So I went about making the first panel, and then I could go about making the other two. So I'm starting with the toilet door panel, and all I did was cut a rough hole with a jigsaw. I'm going to clean it up with a trim bit and my router, so I just have some scrap pieces of wood on there for the bearing to ride against to square up that corner, and that was how I was going to start this opening. Obviously the opening is based on the size of the toilet paper she has, so I needed the right width and height because ideally she wanted to be able to put 4 rolls in there in order to get it in place. I also had to still think about avoiding all of the plumbing that's going to be in the cabinet. One thing I hadn't done up to this point was add my backer. So since the backer I have on the bottom is 1/2 inch, in order to make a sturdier piece up top, I just use a 3/4 inch piece of ply with rabbets on edge and put that in place. Now, I had ordered some bifold hinges online. I decided to mock this up with some hinges I had in the shop. I went through a couple iterations of this before I landed on what you're seeing here. Obviously, this is just a mock-up, and that's when I realized the thickness of the doors means I had to make my opening a little bit bigger. I don't film doing that, but you'll notice the opening gets wider. At this point, I had also run out of the thinner material I had made for the inset panels, which ended up working out nicely because I used panels from one piece so I could book match them in a sense, and the split will go right down that door, which will make it appear more hidden. Now, I had made the door and I didn't film that because I showed you how I go about making the doors for this in last week's video. So if you want to see how I did that, you can watch last week's video. And then I had the camera all set up to show slicing this in half, but I accidentally turned it off instead of on, which is unfortunately something I do quite a bit on this channel. But as you can see, I'm just trimming down where the two pieces will meet in order for it to cover that opening. So pretty simple, just a basic door. I split perfectly down the middle so I have 2 even sides. Now, it worked out nicely. The hinges for this are going to be the face-mounted hinges that I use similarly to the door in the front. They're Blum 3/4 inch overlay hinges, so that was pretty self-explanatory and easy to work around. Bifold hinges were something I've never used before. I had to be able to mount them in the middle of the panel because if I mounted them at the top or the bottom, because of the bulkiness of them, they would hit that plywood frame and the door wouldn't sit flat. So what I decided to do was route out 2 lap joints on the edges of my doors, and then I could span that gap with a piece of wood. The piece of wood will be connected to the doors, but not the panel in the middle, because essentially that still has to float and move. And that's how I decided to mount those bifold hinges. The bifold hinges are bulkier because they have a spring in them which holds the doors closed, and that is so she didn't want hardware on this or any sort of snaps, so the spring in that will hold this door closed. It won't flop open over time, and that is my hinge choice for why I went with those. So I could just glue these 2 pieces of scrap into place to span the middle of the door. They're a little bit skinnier than the door to allow for seasonal changes in that panel. You could clamp them up and then attach my hinges. Now, hinges like this, which are going on a flat surface, they have a tendency to want to move around on you a little bit, so I clamped the whole door together, I weighted it, and then I'm going to use some foam tape in order to get the holes perfect for these hinges. This was kind of a one go at this. If I messed this up, I'd have the holes in the wrong spot. Even if you moved it a little bit, the holes would want to orient in the new spots, so the tape held everything in place. I have a Vicks bit which has a little nipple on it which aligns with the holes in the hinges. I could drill my mounting holes perfectly, remove the foam tape, and then secure these hinges in place. This method worked perfectly. My door is perfectly aligned when I did this, and I actually installed this last weekend, not last weekend, a couple days ago, and it still worked out great. So that's how those hinges attach in the middle there. These will obviously be hidden in the cabinet. This is the outside of the door. And then, like I said, I just use overlay hinges for here. I had these in the shop. These are 3/4 of an inch, and they mount right to the face. You'll notice I didn't film it, but I had to add a little shim on the inside of the cabinet for these to latch onto. You can see in the frame here, just a 3/4 inch piece of pine. And then I just propped up some scrap materials on the bottom to get this lined up. I could go on the inside of the cabinet, mark it, and then drill this one in place. So this one actually worked out perfectly. I said there was a little bit of trial error in it. You could see the door opening is wider than the original clip, because when that door is folded, I needed enough depth to get the toilet paper in. And basically my magic number for this, between this and the toilet bowl, was roughly 5 inches. And you can see I'm measuring here and making sure that this clears the 5 inches, which it does. And that was kind of the nail biter for this situation, because if I made it too big, it would hit the toilet. So now that I have this one in place, I can go about making my other doors, because I'm going to have that 1/4 inch reveal in between all of my panels. The next panel I'm making is going to be fixed in place. It's a facade panel. It will not open. And then the top panel will open, but I made this at the same time. You could see the measurements. And like I said, I didn't film making the doors because I filmed that in the last video. In order to attach the facade panel, I have a chalk line of where my stiles will be, and I made elongated holes so that that facade panel can be secured in place but still move, because the screws can slide back and forth. And then I can mock that up once again with my spacers on the bottom, my 1/4 inch spacer on the side, and that's what the two panels look like. The only thing I was really kind of upset about with this was I wanted those two panels to be the same size, but because of how this had to open next to the toilet, it wasn't possible. So then for the flip out compartment on top, I bought a couple pieces of hardware, because I've learned the hard way. It's easier to buy a couple different things and have one of them work than buy the wrong thing and have to wait for something else to come. The piece you just saw was more standard flip out hardware, but because this overhang on top of the cabinet is about 2 inches for this where the sink is, I needed my door to open more than 45 degrees, which is what most of that hardware does. So I actually found these cup style flip out hinges that stop so the door won't go all the way down, but it opens more than 45 degrees. I mocked it on top of the cabinet so I could see what my reveal was going to be, so I could know where to mount the door, and those hinges ended up working perfectly. If I remember, I'll put links in the description to all these hinges, because they are specialty hinges. And then same process, I needed to make my hole. So I just rough cut out with a jigsaw, mocked up the outside with some material so I can make a perfect hole. Now the only problem with the cup hinges where the cup is mounted a little bit differently than the normal hinges, and it was going to interfere with my panel. So luckily I noticed that before I drilled it, and I actually mounted where the cup hinge hole is going to be about 1/8 of an inch lower than it should. That means when I go to mount this, the door is actually going to be higher than it should be. It ended up working out fine. It was mounted in the door without it going through the panel, but you'll see I have to adjust the doors behind it. There's also now a sliver of light that comes through the front, which honestly, when you're standing up in the space, you can't even see, but that was something to consider if you are going to get these. My rails, if they were thicker, I could avoid that. So then, like I said, when I went to go mount my door back in place, it was a little bit too low, so I had to adjust it up, because the door up top is now adjusted up. And then the other problem with these was they had a little foot on them, which was how they were aligned on my opening, and it made the door kick out further than the rest. So what I did was I actually trimmed the foot off, so you can see the metal part is now set further back on my ply, and that solved that problem. So a little bit of tweaking with this one as well, and now the whole thing is flush, and that's the flip out container. Now for the compartments that go on the inside, the toilet paper roll compartment was one of those things where I was already pressing my luck with how close I was getting to the water lines. So I went with 1/4 inch material, so to not add a bunch of height or depth into the cabinet. And I just used miter joints so they were nice and clean. I made a simple 3-sided container with a top, and then that will just go right inside the box. It didn't have to be anything fancy, and like I said, I was trying to make it as small as possible, hence the 1/4 inch material. Once I had all the miters glued up, I could reinforce the corners with some scrap and some holes so I could drill this right into the base of the cabinet. And then she also did want hardware on the side, which I agree with. It makes it look like they really are hidden compartments, so I just have push to open hardware on the inside. That's easy to mount and adjust the push to open because the little plunger that goes on there can be adjusted in and out to get it to work. So that is how the toilet door opens and what it looks like on the inside. For the top opening drawer, like I said, she wanted it to hold hairbrushes, so I just took out my box joint jig and once again made a 3-sided container. This was a little more trial and error because of the way the hinges were. I had to clear the top of my opening, so I wanted this to be as big as possible without hitting the sink because it's a single vanity. The sink would be close to this edge, and also clear the opening. So I kind of went with oversized measurements at first, put that box joints together, put a dado on the bottom to hold 1/4 inch material for my base, and then I could kind of roughly mount it in place so I could glue this together. There is some tear out on the box joints, but you don't really see it once the door's opening. And when I went to go rough mount it, I quickly learned that I needed an angle on this. So I added a little bit of an angle so it can clear that opening. And even with that, I had to make the opening a little bit bigger for this to fit in there. And this is going to attach to the drawer front just with some wooden cleats. So I pre-drilled some holes which will go into the drawer front, and then I can just glue them onto the sides. I also have a little piece of wood on the bottom, which is what will go across the front, so there's no gap because you could see it overlays the hinges, and I had to remove a little bit of material there as well. But pretty simple drawer opening for that front there. And when you see the front of it, you'll see I have 2 little almost dog ears because I had to cut out more material. I end up squaring all that up and veneering the inside of that door, but that is how that flips out. I was pretty happy with that because I was nervous about the material, the hardware I was finding only opening to a 45-degree angle. And just like the bottom, this is going to get pushed to open, so I had to make a spacer so that this stuck out enough from the front frame of the cabinet in order to work. Got everything set up, and then that just sits right on the edge there with enough clearance to hit the door and push to open. So that is how that one looks in the cabinet as well. And the push to opens are nice. You could tweak them. I showed the customer how to tweak them because this is being made in the middle of winter. My shop's going to have less humidity than her house, but that is basically how everything went together. So that's the facade panel on the side with the 2 secret openings and how that all looks before finish. Now for this cabinet, like I said, I did install it, but I didn't get great footage of it because it is a smaller bathroom. So I made a short of what I got, and this is basically shorter clips of that as well. The original vanity, obviously, I had to take out. The only thing I really had to do on install was scribe the 2 sides, and I knew I was going to have to do that because I could tell on my original site visit that they had just caulked the hell out of the side of this in order to get it against the wall. and it was a pretty easy scribe. I just use a router with a straight edge. If it's a short span on the wall, there's usually no bowing you have to take into account. It was a straight taper, so I could put that against the wall. My plumbing clearances were about as tight as they could go. It fit under the drain by the hair on my chinny chin chin, and it fit under the water lines in the same way, but the water lines still work. I was able to turn it on and off in the space, and then once everything was in place, I could add all the secret doors. It cleared everything. This was one of those projects where there was so much math involved, not necessarily in building the cabinet, but in making sure everything was going to clear, all the pieces that were there, working within very small spaces and confines, but it all worked out and I was pretty happy with it. And then on site I installed the knobs the customer had, and this is what those doors look like functioning in space. So that one, like I said, is where she wants to keep her hairbrushes, and you can see the overhang on the sink is quite substantial, and this one just clears the toilet enough for her to have the paper in there. So that is what that one looks like. There will be one more video of doing the finish on this, and then I think I'm going to do a full build video on this series, and I'll be done with it.